Right. Hello, everybody. It's High Priestess Jamila. And I won't be here for long because I have been resting. Um, yeah, I've been resting. And so I wanted to come and speak about how embracing or either exploring in your past life is key in doing successful shadow work. Um, that I think a lot of people are afraid of their past lives. A lot of people are afraid of their current life. So looking at your past life, it can probably be a little overwhelming. I know it was for me, but I think that it's key. It's a key element of healing and doing your shadow work. It's a key element in healing the current things because if you had a past life that could have been that could have been considered to be traumatic, which I think that a lot of us may have had a traumatic past life, or either several that you could be dealing with. I think that doing past life regression work is shadow work, mainly, mostly. And shadow work is when you start to work on those areas of yourself that have been repressed. Okay. These are memories and things that may have happened, and maybe it can be the key in handling your karmics in this life as well. So anybody that feels that they have had a past life should embrace it. Um, First of all, if you were somebody that wasn't very liked in your past life, you don't have to be ashamed of it because that's why they call it a past life. So there's no need to be ashamed of who you were in a previous life because that was then and this is now. And so, of course, people that dislike you or have a problem with you in this life, they may have an issue with you or a problem with you that could be, or either within themselves, that could be, uh, predicated on by your past life. And I think that it's important to explore that so that you can have fulfillment and happiness and maybe even healing in this current life because um there are some people that come into this world wounded. They come in wounded in some kind of way. In fact, some people come in with birthmarks, physical ailments, physical limitations that could be directly related to their past life. Maybe even subconscious behaviors, mannerisms, manners that may be coming from a previous life. And see, if you don't gain control over that, if you don't have some kind of control over that, you could have a lot of tragedy in this life if you don't embrace it. And if you don't say, okay, I'm looking at my past life, I can see myself in our past lives. There's a lot of people that have had past lives. Okay. And this is something that I want to specialize in because a lot of times, and you know what, you don't really get too many people that are willing to explore their past life, which I think it's very important. I think that a lot of people that are under depression, a lot of people that have anxiety out of nowhere, you kind of really don't know what that could be related to. Okay. Why you are the person that you are in this life. Because for some reason, a lot of people are having past life regressions. It's a very spiritual thing. Okay. People go and they see therapists because of past life regressions. People have a lot of issues because of their past lives. Yeah. Yeah, Kelly. And you know what? I think that people sometimes discover who they were in a past life. And I think that they don't like the person that they were in a past life. But I think that understanding who you were and why you were the person that you were in a past life. I was talking about one of my past lives earlier, and it seems that a lot of people are really, really interested in the subject. So what I want to do for the channel is I want to put up another poll for y'all to vote. If you guys, well, you know what, I may just force it on y'all. I may just force it on everybody and just put up, what are you bringing in from your past life? It can just be a general monthly reading, because I know that I had a lot of strange occurrences my entire life because of my past lives. And I know for a fact that it's the last two prior to this one that I've been having most of the transgressions from. And it is very personal. It is very deep. And then it can also be very healing. So, if you guys need some kind of past life help, which I believe that it requires shadow work, because and you know what? Everybody wasn't a bad person in their past life. There are some people that may have had good, when you look at it, you can either be a good, like when you look at your past lives, you can either be what you consider to be a good person or what you consider to be a bad person. You can be either or, you know what I'm saying? So it is really neat. And I think that I should put up some past life shadow work readings for the channel, because I'm getting a little bored with the love readings. Love can be unpredictable. It can be okay. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm going to stick with the pick of cards when it comes to love readings. But I think that, doing the past life readings are key and pivotal in a lot of people's issues, especially being that we're dealing with so many spirits. We're dealing with a lot. Okay, so y'all want some past life readings? Okay, good. Good. I'm so glad that I bought this up then. So we will get that. We will definitely get that going. Okay, cool. Okay. I am definitely going to do that, because I think that it can either be a good thing or a bad thing for some people. I know that for me, I bring in a lot of good. I love the person that I was in a past life because it was me. It's just, it was what it was. It was the past. I think that our soul goes through processes before we even are reborn. Okay, cool. That's cool. Well, then I'll do that, because around this time is when. Oh, really? Who do you think brought you to me? Probably your spirit guides. That's what I. Yeah, and you know what? You don't necessarily have had to have been a famous person either. Or you know, you could have just had a very interesting past life to to where, I mean, you were famous to the people that knew you, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And so I love it. I love it when I embrace my past life. In fact, you don't have a choice. Once you open once the, I guess, the veil gets lifted, it's something that you can't really stop, and then also you can figure out how to protect yourself. No, Zaina, shadow work is when you face the things that are um repressed, the things about your soul that are repressed. It's the experiences that you have had in other carnations. And so that's, I believe that shadow work is directly related to past life work. Sometimes it can be. I mean, there could be things that you're repressing from this life too, but I think that there's also, hey Thea, Jamila is the best at what. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you. Thea says, I have a big birthmark in the corner of my right eye, and I saw during Soul's travel that I was a male. And oh, wow. Yeah, you know what? See, you already know, but see, you probably want to explore that a little bit. You may want to explore that. I know that my last 3 lives, I was female, but I do know that there were past lives that I lived where I was a male. So that can totally happen. Why they seem to be coming back to us somehow, these memories, these experiences, and then also ghosts. So somebody was mentioning seeing shadows, shadow figures. I think that that is possibly that gateway or that veil being lifted, because shadow figures, they're kind of scary to me, and it's because um I don't see spirits like that. And I feel that if you're seeing something like that, I think that that's important for you to get probably cleanses. I know that I know that for the past 6 years. So my last two past lives before this one, I can speak from personal experience. Very tragic, um, very traumatic. They were, okay. Um, so in one lifetime, I was considered to be a bad person, but then in the one right before this one, so we're not only just dealing with, like some of y'all could be dealing with several past lives at once, which could be responsible for the gang stalking, okay, or being gang stalked. That could have some kind of correlation. I know this. You got to get to the point where you don't just see the negative about everything, because some of these can be signs coming in from spirit of what you were or who you were. And I know this. I do have a very close relationship to spirits and God. And I can tell you that they don't agree that you should be punished or persecuted for who you were in a past life. And I think that it's almost like, okay, let's say, like, it's almost like having a dream or a nightmare and bringing an aspect of that dream into the current life. Does that make sense? So a past life can sometimes be this dream world that doesn't exist anymore that you did experience. And some of even some of your dreams may point to your past life, because especially if it doesn't make any sense, if you're in places that you've never been before. Yeah. And so you can actually clear out negative karma from a past life too. Negative karmics, or maybe those karmics could be directly related to who you were in a past life. And you should embrace it so that you can know. And then also, it's not that you may not just have enemies from a previous life, but you may also have allies. You may have very powerful protectors or warrior spirits that, so, embrace your past life and do your shadow work. Okay, sometimes you may catch me doing shadow work and people may not understand it, but I think that it's important, which is why I like to lead by example. Okay, that's why earlier today I was talking about uh except in the haunted houses, like in this life is something very interesting to me, but visiting certain locations is important. And I think your family, your friends, I think that they should understand that, because people just want you to stick with what they feel that your duty is, or stay in your place. But your soul, your spirit, it has to, like, for me, I was absolutely drawn to it, and it wasn't because I was supposed to be self-destructive. It was just because it is a part of who you are. Okay, and so don't let people make your spiritual journey negative at all. And so I think that's why so many people like to work with me, because I am not judgmental, and so many people are judgmental. Like I said, I felt like I was being harshly judged. That energy was coming in, those spirits were coming in from the previous life, and not too many people recognize that. Not too many people understand that. It's very difficult. So, hey, Patsy Lopez. So, I will put up some general readings for past life, because I think it's coming back up for a reason. Like when my past selves pop up, I have no choice. And it's like I said, it's very personal, the things that you go through, the memories, the dreams that you may have, um, certain aspects of yourself that could be very similar to your past self. But then again, you can also be a totally different person. You can be totally opposite, like in your soul, like not just how people programmed you to be, but you can be a better person than who you were in a previous life. You can be a better person. Like, you don't have to necessarily be that. Um, but then understanding who you were can make this life better or easier. It can help explain a lot of the paranormal experiences that many of you guys are having. So I think that is going to be, it is healing. It is. And you know what? I got to say this to people. If you have people around you that are interfering with that shadow work, it makes it makes it so much more difficult. Okay? So it's not, your spiritual journey is not limited to anything. I mean, you never know what your spirit needs to do in order to heal. Okay, because your past selves, they probably either need to be healed, your soul may be having these your soul may be having these experiences, or these or these maybe even wounds from then. And unless you were perfect, which if you were perfect in your previous life, then you shouldn't have that many issues in this one, if everything was just perfect, perfect, perfect. And again, the whole judgment thing, um that's something, because over here, if you feel that you were somebody in your past life, it just is what it is. It's better for you to, because some of y'all were suffering because of your past life. I know that I was for, I don't want to say that I was suffering, but I do know that once I started to open up the gateway, then more of that shadow work was obvious that I needed to do. And this started probably like 14 years ago, when spirit first told me that I needed to do shadow work. Yeah, I'm into that stuff too. Definitely. Definitely. When I'm not on here doing readings, I'm looking at paranormal stuff. I'm researching it. I love to look at the paranormal investigative stuff. And I actually am a paranormal investigator. Like, I just need to be able to travel more so that I can, like, go places that spirit is trying to lead me to, and I'm not afraid of it. Yeah. Yeah, those are interesting. I think it's interesting to use the devices too that can pick up on that type of activity, because it's not like it. People tend to trust electronics more than people, I guess you could say. As a medium, if I go and visit a haunted house, though, or I can tell you that there's spirits everywhere. And if I go visit a haunted house, I'm gonna definitely pick up on what is there, okay, and have those experiences with those spirits. Uh, I'm not afraid of it, especially when it comes to your spiritual gifts. People have been suppressing their spiritual gifts for years. Hey, Otter Leagues, hello. In the world, hold on, yeah, I was looking for something. So I'm gonna do that thing. We're gonna switch up the love readings, because I mean, unless you want a private love reading, but and like I said, I want to get more into the pick a card readings. I think pick a card readings save time, they save energy, because they, like, most of the pick a card readings that I've went and looked at, even for myself, uh, have been extremely accurate. So we'll do that. But I'm definitely going to put up some readings on past lives, and kind of just, like I said, I can't really go in, like, the readings that I put up on the channel are not personal readings. They are generalized. So I have to be very general when I am doing the readings for the channel. But I definitely will do that. Okay. And also, another thing, you guys can see that comments are disabled. And that is because of trolls. So, it's a, like, right now I'm going through so much spiritually. So, like, so much spiritually that I don't need to deal with that, because you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why people go through their hermit phases, because when you are dealing with something spiritually, that's probably when you may want to be alone and spend some time to yourself and not have too many other energies coming in. So that's why the comments have been disabled, and they'll probably stay that way until further notice. So, but if you guys need to reach me anytime you have any questions, you can either reach out to me for a reading. Um, I wanted to have these meetings because for some reason, when it comes to feeling discriminated as a woman, is very triggering for me. And it triggers every time I feel like I'm discriminated as a woman, it triggers my past life. It does. And people are so afraid to explore their spiritual self, out of embarrassment and out of shame. But it's totally okay to embrace who you were in your previous life. You're not that person in this life. You've made a choice, or maybe it just was meant for you to, do better, have a better life than the past one. Um, I've actually talked about my past lives. So the one directly before this one, I reincarnated, and yes, I do believe in reincarnation. Yes, I do. But this one, previous to this one, um, I was actually a witch, and somehow I ended up in a family of witches, but they did some dark stuff. They was very dark. I was born into a very dark witch family. Okay. And so a lot of people that are into the craft, they're going through it. They are having a lot of anger and a lot of resentment because they are a witch on some level. You know what I'm saying? I mean, or either a natural born witch. Even us witches, you can be a witch in your soul, but you can live a lifetime without practicing witchcraft. And so I've done that before. And in that life, I was very lost. But then again, I was born into a family that was heavily into dark magic, and tried to get away from it, but was never able to escape it. So a lot of people will say, well, dang, I wish my family was more so in to witchcraft, or either more open and was more so positive about it. Um, there's a lot of people that feel that way, and I feel that way also because I had tragedy. I had tragedy in my previous life. And so sometimes you can be dealing with more than one past life at the same time. So I think that doing shadow work is self-care. It is. It's self-care as well. So I totally understand that. And so a lot of people say, "Oh, well, they'll accuse you of being crazy." But haven't we done that for too long? We've done that for way too long. Okay, suppressing or oppressing something is not going to necessarily work. I believe in transmutation. I believe in transformation. I believe in turning the negative into the positive. Otherwise, you probably would not be here. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that your incarnation into this life was the chance and the possibility to make things the way you want it to be, because, there were times when spirituality was very oppressed. And then let's not even mention the past lives where you were a witch and you may have been burned. Okay, so some of us are dealing with those past lives too, where you may have been a witch and you may have been burned. And, getting a timeline of who you were and having some kind of idea and information about who you were during your past lives, and in which some of y'all have several. Okay, it's kind of important, like especially during those rough times where you're dealing with these energies, these thoughts, these emotions that may come out of the blue. And you may not understand why you feel that way. Okay. And I think it's important to know where it's coming from. And then also keeping in mind that you can clear yourself of past karmas, past life karma. You don't have to be subjugated or suffer in this life for things that you did in the past life. You don't have to be. I think you should know who you were, you should understand it, and you should embrace it, and you should make peace with it. Okay? So I'm going to get me some coffee and I'm going to get started on those, because I think that that is ultimately what a lot of people are dealing with. So we'll call it a past life shadow work, because I believe that it's directly related. Okay. My, okay, I already read that. Well, I know that I was a loving person, but I was in the one previous to this one, I was a loving person, which was why I left my family, because they were doing a lot of dark things and they were witches. They were very powerful, rich witches too. Okay. So that life, it haunts me even to this day. Okay. And that was the one previous. But then again, I think that your lives before that can assist you with, so everything seems to connect to, okay? When you think about your past life and shadow work, it seems like they start to connect. It starts to add up and it starts to make sense. And when you can understand something, that is power within itself, is understanding. Understanding something can save you a lot of emotional turmoil. Understanding something can save you a lot of trauma. So, yeah, we'll definitely do that. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to go and get me some coffee and stuff. I feel like drinking some coffee. So I'm going to go, guys, and I'll get those uploaded for y'all. I don't think it would be a good idea for me to do those readings live. So what I'll do is I'll record them and then put them on public. I'll record them unlisted. My life was premeditated and created for to be a person of influence. Okay. Interesting. You preaching to the choir, Zaina. Okay. Okay, y'all. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.